Somehow we've made health and wellness so serious, so complicated, so full of rules and tracking and optimizing. We've become very good at doing health, but I'm not sure we've become any better at living well. I don't think the missing ingredient to better health is more willpower or more discipline or a stricter routine, particularly for us as women. I think we're just missing the simple humanness of joy, of just being able to live well without needing to constantly perform wellness. We've almost separated nourishment and wellness from pleasure and humanness. What if instead of constantly forcing ourselves and pushing ourselves to try and be healthy, we designed our lives to naturally pull us towards healthier choices, becoming magnets for the things that feel good, but also that are good for us, not through more discipline or willpower, although discipline does have its place, but by designing a life where the things that nourish us are also the things that we genuinely want to do because they're joyful, they're beautiful, they're fun. A life where you want to cook nourishing food because you love being in your kitchen. You want to exercise and move more because you found a way of moving that you love, that makes you feel alive. You want to put your phone down because your real life feels better than what's happening on your screen. It's not because you should, it's because you genuinely enjoy your life more when you do. And eventually health stops feeling like this thing that you're constantly having to do. It stops feeling like a chore or like homework. It just becomes a natural byproduct of the way you live. And I'm not saying the things that we do for our health don't matter. They absolutely do. I care enormously about what we eat, how we move, how we sleep, and all of those things. I'm just offering a slightly different and softer way of approaching them. One that sees us as a whole human rather than a collection of things to constantly measure and optimize. Because I think that looking after ourselves and knowing how to do that in a way that feels good, that feels joyful, that feels flowing rather than forced, that's the key. In fact, I really believe that it must feel like that if we want nourishing habits and routines to actually stick, to be consistent, to actually be living as our healthiest and most vibrant selves. And this is such a mindset shift. I think that we often assume that once we're healthy, then we get to enjoy life. But what if it's the other way around? What if the things that we find pleasure in need to come first in order for us to become healthy? Or what if they could actually be the healthy things themselves? Let me show you what I mean. Cooking a nourishing meal, for example. Instead of thinking, ugh, I have to cook dinner, what if you made cooking something you actually look forward to? Put some jazz on, clear the surfaces, get out some recipe books, chop some fresh herbs, pour yourself something to drink. I like to imagine I'm in a Nancy Meyers movie when I'm cooking. And yes, that sounds slightly ridiculous, but it works. It makes me want to cook, and that's the point. Home cooking is so important if you want to live well, if you want to be healthy. So make it fun because you have to do it every day. Involve your family, dance around the kitchen, cook from a beautiful cookbook that makes you excited about food. And suddenly something that could have felt like another chore becomes part of this beautiful life that you actually enjoy living. And then what if we rethink exercise? It doesn't always have to mean putting on workout clothes and doing a workout. Ask yourself, how do I actually like to move? Maybe it's putting your favorite music on and having a dance party in the living room with your family. It could be spending Saturdays walking along the beach and breathing in that healthy, salty air. Me and my husband actually moved to the coast about 2 years ago now for that very reason. It was very deliberate so that we would have this beautiful place to walk every day so that it didn't feel like exercise. It just feels like my life. Or maybe it's tennis. I love playing tennis with my husband. We haven't done since my daughter came along last year, but we're definitely going to get back into it because it's fun, we have a laugh, and it's so good for you. It becomes this joyful event instead of something that I have to, tick off each day. The point is, move in a way that feels fun, that makes you feel alive, not simply to just burn calories or hit some goal or to make your aura ring happy. And then we need to bring pleasure back into how we eat too. This could look like setting the table with a beautiful tablecloth, using the pretty dishes and making eating an occasion again, rather than something we just rush, which is also so much better for our digestion. Food isn't just nourishment, it's also pleasure and connection, and as much as possible should really be savoured. And once you start looking at health this way, you start seeing more and more opportunities for joy and health everywhere, like sipping a warm cup of bone broth in your pajamas while watching the sunrise. Yes, you're nourishing yourself. Yes, you're getting that early morning light, which is so good for you. But you're not standing there thinking, I've checked off my circadian protocol. It's just this lovely way of living. Or instead of telling yourself, I need to stop scrolling before bed, make the alternative more appealing. Turn on the soft, cozy lighting, get into your pajamas, make some hot chocolate and leave a really good book by the sofa so you can cozy up with it before you go to sleep. Create an evening that you don't want to scroll through. So start putting things through this lens of joy. Instead of asking, how do I make myself do this? Ask, how can I make this something I actually want to do? Instead of constantly trying to force better habits into your life, design your life so that you're naturally pulled towards them. And eventually, health doesn't feel like this thing that you're trying to do. It just becomes a natural byproduct of how you're living your life. Good health isn't just how we eat or how we exercise, although those things do matter, but it's your environment, your routines, your home. Is your home bringing you joy, or is it just a constant source of chaos and clutter and stress? It's the way you spend your weekends. It's the things that you find beautiful. It's the people you spend time around. It's the things that you say yes to and the things you say no to. And when you can do things that not only light you up and bring you pleasure every day, but also happen to be nourishing, then healthy choices simply become how you live. And I think this is why some of the more extreme corners of biohacking and wellness culture have become quite unappealing to me. Not because there's anything inherently wrong with using red light therapy, for example. I have a red light therapy light and I also wore an Oura ring up until very recently. These things can have their place, but I never want health to strip away the humanness of living. That just makes absolutely no sense to me. And I feel like that's where a lot of this stuff has got to. It's gone too far. I don't want to spend my life constantly measuring and tracking myself. And just a side note, it doesn't mean that everything that we do for our health has to be fun. Obviously, there are things in life and for our well-being that we have to do, and it might not look particularly exciting. But even then, I think it's worth asking, is there a way I could make this experience a little more joyful or a little lighter? I want to live well. I want to eat delicious, fresh food that nourishes me and that's good for the soul. I want to be in nature. I want to feel connected to this beautiful planet that we live on. I want to use my intuition instead of relying on tech devices to tell me things. I want to feel like a human having this beautiful, rich experience of being alive. I don't want to feel like a science experiment. And so much of that is finding joy and pleasure in the things that we do every day. And I think somewhere along the way, parts of wellness culture have forgotten that. We've forgotten that joy isn't separate from health. It's what makes good health sustainable. Because when something feels fun, when something makes you smile, you actually want to do it. And you want to do it again tomorrow and the day after that. The healthy habits and routines that always stick for me are never the ones that I have forced myself to do. They're always the ones that feel good, that add joy to my life. So start asking yourself, where have I been taking health or life too seriously? Where are you constantly forcing yourself to do something when actually you could get a bit creative and make it more enjoyable? And what does your happiest, healthiest, most vibrant self do differently? What do her days look like? So maybe the answer to better health isn't more willpower. Perhaps we just need to remember how to have fun again. More joy, more silliness, surround ourselves with more beauty, do more of the things that make us feel really alive. And maybe, just maybe, when we create a life filled with delicious, nourishing food, movement we enjoy, nature, connection, pleasure, rest, good health doesn't have to be something that we're constantly chasing. It just becomes the way we live.